It's the Monday Night Results Show. Just the results, and nothing but the results. From this past weekend's race at your favorite racetracks, if you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, tune into the Disney Channel. And now, the man with a mind for statistics. Unfortunately, those statistics are usually odds on the ponies in Vegas. Mitch, the Dr. Walker.
All right, welcome back. It's the Monday Night Results Show, and man, we got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. Got a great guest lined up, Josh Walker. We'll be talking to him in just a little bit, but let's get on track and get things done like we're supposed to do with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, you know, every show, at the top of the show, we always bring up anyone who we have lost during the week. And tonight's show is very special. Friend of mine who has been the gateway to so much NASCAR information over the years, to some really cool guests I've talked to. Mr. Terry Anderson. A lot of you know him. He does models, replicas of guys' race cars from days gone by, and shares them with them. And I mean, these things are unbelievable in the detail. But Terry's daughter, Amber, who for the past few months has been battling colon cancer, lost her battle with colon cancer this weekend. I cannot imagine the pain and the hurt that Terry has been through, losing his daughter. But to sit and watch and read some of the comments that people have made about her, it has touched me. And I posted a thing on my Facebook page last night, Black Flag for Cancer. And I hope everybody shares it, spread it around, look on my page, it's on there. After tonight, I'm going to make it my profile picture for 1 week in honor of all the people whose lives have been touched by cancer. And I said it here first, and I'll say it again. Cancer sucks. I wish cancer would get cancer and die. We have lost lots of great people to cancer, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of losing friends to cancer. I'm tired of my friends losing family and loved ones to cancer. So, cancer, we got your number, buddy. We're coming after you, one way or another. All right, we've got a lot of stuff going on tonight. I want to say a very special shout out to one of my newest fans and one of John Owenby's newest fans, Miss Caitlin Coleman. Met her at North Georgia Saturday night. My God, I have never seen a person more rabid about dirt track racing. And it was her first trip to Club Nasty Fast. And I'll tell you what, she was an absolute riot. I had a ball watching her and getting to see the enthusiasm in a young person about racing. And that just, it rekindled my fire that I've had burning for a long time about spreading the word of racing. Bring somebody with you, you know, and that was the perfect example of it. I want to thank Jeff Jones, my buddy, for bringing out the MCW, the Micro Championship Wrestlers, the midgets. I'll tell you what, you have not lived until you've seen these guys. Half the size, twice the violence. The MCW, Midget Championship Wrestlers, those guys were great, and they were so open to all the fans, to sit and talk with all the fans and just share and hang out it was a lot of fun. We'll talk about them in a little bit, but we're going to step out for a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to jump into a whole bunch of stuff. So don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the doctor, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Getting your child home safely.
Tap your heels together 3 times.
Is just a click away.
There's no place like home.
But making sure your child is in the right seat is just one of the steps down the road to safer travels.
I don't know how it works.
Find the right seat for your little one's age and size. There's no better way to get home safely. Know for sure that your child is in the right seat.
How can I ever thank you enough?
Get all the facts at safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, your authority on motorsports of all types. Be listening for the most accurate and up-to-the-minute coverage of every motorsports activity that you enjoy on a daily basis. Be it NASCAR, be it IRL, be it Formula One, be it drag racing, be it dirt track, off-road, props, hulls, whatever. We are your source for motorsports. Performance Motorsports Network.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
It's the Monday Night Results Show. The name says it all. Now back to your host, the doctor.
All right, welcome back. I want to remind everybody, Duck River's having a big race July the 3rd, and my buddy Hot Dog Gary McCullough announced earlier today, Track Pro Safety Team will be working the Duck River event, in addition to being at Huntsville Speedway July the 2nd. So if you plan on racing on the asphalt in Huntsville, on the 2nd, July the 2nd, they'll be there to take care of you. And if you go and run the dirt up at Duck River on the 3rd, they'll be up there to take care of you. Also, a charity event that is near and dear to my heart, I want to share with everyone. Dalton Distillery, July the 2nd, from 10 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. Push-ups for charity to benefit the Boot campaign. We've had Jeff Jones come on the show a couple of times and talk about the Boot campaign, and he will be there. I will be down there sometime during the day doing some push-ups and getting on board. I've been training. Last year we done this, and I done 7 push-ups, and it took me 7 weeks to recover. But in my defense, I did have a separated shoulder, but I done 7 push-ups, separated shoulder and all. And I'm going to go this year, and I'm going to try to do 8. And if anybody wants to jump in there and put in $5 for every push-up I do, who knows, I might hit 10. But we're going to do what we can to help raise money for the boot campaign. And push-ups for charity is a great way to do it. I know some of the guys from the fire department are going to be there. And last year, I think between all of them, the 5-man crew, I think they done 1,600 push-ups in about an hour and 10 minutes. And I know they was doing push-ups just one right after the other. And it warms your heart to see things like that. Now, later on, we've got some results from the Mustache Madness up at Eagle Raceway in Eagle, Nebraska. We're going to be bringing you those results, as well as results from Cochran. The results from North Georgia have not made it through yet. There was a protest in the sportsman race. We're going to be talking about that with our guest, Josh Walker, coming up in the next segment. Just some calm some nerves and explain a few things on what happened. And had a great night of racing over there. If you haven't seen it, Shane Kluwer, who is a four-wheeler expert, been racing them for a long time, does a lot of motor work, does a lot of performance modifications on four-wheelers. He brought his quad over there, and the midgets from the MCW lifted it up. They picked his four-wheeler up, and they were taking pictures of it. Great bunch of guys over there. But Shane come out there and got spanked. And, you know, I talked about it all night. I said, yep, Shane Kluwer's here. If y'all got four-wheelers, you might as well load them back up. And Alan Green's son, Jason Green, I believe is his name, he said, no, I'm going to roll mine off and put a slide job on him. And he did. And it was a great race, and he beat him twice. So there wasn't no need for a third round. But great night of racing out at North Georgia Speedway. North Georgia is going to be off for a couple of weeks. Never know. You may see me around on the microphone at different places, talking to one about this weekend. I might go up there. We'll have to wait and see. If we do, I will let everyone know. There is something happened at North Georgia Speedway Saturday night that really, really got to me. If you look on my page, scroll down through there, you will see our national anthem was sung by a man named Doug Briney. Doug has been a friend of mine for, quite a few years. They call him the Alaskan Cowboy. He moved from Alaska to Nashville. He is working with a couple of recording companies up there. And he has a new gospel CD out. You can check it out on DougBriney.com. Go check it out, I'm telling you. But Doug sang the national anthem. And it was probably the best rendition of the national anthem I have heard in a very, very long time. And sang it live at North Georgia, rode his motorcycle down, hung out with us. We let him wave the flag on the crate feature. And he had to cut out and head back to Nashville. But it was a great honor to have the Nashville recording artist Doug Briney come down and join us at North Georgia. And it's always good when you have friends that can sing, you know, that will help you out. But one of the things that I want to really address on tonight's show, and it's going to be pretty much the focus and the topic of most of the show other than the result sessions, and that is social media. You know, we've talked about this countless times. There was an incident that took place at North Georgia Saturday night, and there was a call that was made. And it was in the super late model race, the last race of the evening. There was a spin when part of the cars came under to take the white flag. They were out of time. It was a green-white checkered. They came under the white flag. The entire field did not come under the white flag, but some of them did. There was a caution thrown. When the caution was thrown, they took and got on the receiver, let everybody know, hey, caution, caution, caution. Everybody got to slow down. Well, when they did that, there was a mix-up, and there was one driver who decided to race back to the caution, race back to the checkered. And the flagman was waving the yellow and the checkered, signifying that the race was ending under caution. And when he did, it caused some confusion. And in this confusion, Lamar Scoggins come off of turn 4 and went blasting down to the start-finish line, screaming and hollering. He won the race. Well, that wasn't the way it worked. It was called by the flagman that the race was over and that John Owenby was the winner. It was called by the guy on Raceiver that John Owenby won the race. And that is the way the finishing order was recorded. After the race, Chip Burke himself said, well, actually, I think Lamar Scoggins should have won because I told him in the driver's meeting that you race back to the yellow flag. But because the officials had made the call that Owenby won, Chip Burke stood behind his officials and made the call and said, nope, give the win to John Owenby. It caused a big old stink. And in the stink, there was a lot of comments that was made on Facebook and Twitter and social media. And the thing about it is, the call was made. There is nothing you're going to do to change the call. Chip backed up his officials who made the call. The right thing to do for whether it's right for the racer or not, well, that's neither here nor there. But from a promoter's point of view, he hires these people to do a job. He has to back these people up. He has to have their back. And he did. He disagreed with it himself, but he backed up their decision. That's what caused all the hate and discontent. Because officials made the call one way, a lot of people thought that it should have went the other way. But it was neither here nor there. I have to commend Chip Burke. He's not my favorite person in the world. I work for him, but that don't mean I like him. I mean, he's all right. I do like him. I got a lot of respect for him. I don't see me and him hanging out and drinking beer together or having a cup of coffee, but he's a good dude. He made the right call, and he backed up his officials. Now, it pissed some people off. For those people, I'm sorry, but it is what it is, and the chips fall where they may. Chip done the right thing, backed up his officials. If he would have went against his officials, he would have probably had a mutiny, and he would have been running the racetrack by himself. It was a safety issue. The flagman felt that there was a car blocking the racing groove. That's why he threw the caution. That's why he called yellow on the radio and said the race was over. These guys on the radio heard the receiver. They heard the race be called. It's done. And for Lamar Scoggins to come blasting up through there with a yellow flag out waving, it just created a safety hazard, and safety has got to be paramount at the racetrack. You've got to protect the drivers, you've got to protect the crew and the safety personnel on hand, and that's what the flagman was trying to do. Whether people like him or not, he made the right call. You may not agree with it, but it was the right call. Racer safety was at stake, and that's what he done. He protected the racers. Didn't want them barreling off into the corner and hitting somebody, or the somebody that was sitting down there dead in the water, he didn't want them getting hit. And that's why he called it the way he did. So I just wanted to offer a little bit of explanation on that. And coming up in the next segment, we're going to have a young man named Josh Walker, who's been running Sportsman at North Georgia this year. Been some controversy over crate motors in Sportsman, and we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. So don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show. My name's Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and you'll find us exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
I'm NASCAR driver Bobby Labonte. At 200 miles per hour, many unseen dangers can arise in the blink of an eye. That's why we have spotters high above the track. They help drivers avoid trouble. Parents need to play the same role when it comes to kids and computers. As a parent, I know the internet can take kids to wonderful sites for learning, entertainment, and fun, but it can also lead to danger.
Here are some safety tips. Keep the computer in a family area where you can see it. Proactively teach your children never to share personal information online.
My turn.
Become knowledgeable about signing on to websites, searching for information, and using email and instant messaging. Doing so will help you recognize potential dangers. Familiarize yourself with safer websites and post that list by your computer.
Like our spotters, parents are best positioned to see the dangers kids could face online and to help them avoid them. Make a commitment to keeping kids safe online.
A message from WebWise Kids and Ask.com.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Travel is part of the American way of life.
When we're on vacation, we keep an eye out for anything that looks out of place.
Miss your bag.
When we travel from city to city, we pay attention to our surroundings.
Everyone plays a role in keeping our communities safe.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Hi, this is Ozzy Osbourne. For many years, you know I've had a drink problem and I'm trying to battle that problem every single day. But one thing I don't drive my car when I'm drinking. I get someone to drive me. Do not drink and drive. It's the stupidest thing. If you drink, just don't drive. Not only are you going to hurt yourself, you may hurt some other person, and you wouldn't want that on your conscience, would you?
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
They say numbers don't lie, but we found that with a little tequila and some weed, the timing and scoring people will. Wading through the fog, it's the Doctor.
All right, welcome back. And, you know, we told you earlier we had somebody that was going to jump in here and share and chat with us. Joining me on the phone right now, driver of the number 16 Lock Doctor sponsored sportsman at North Georgia Speedway, Mr. Josh Walker. Josh, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a little under the weather right now, but other than that, doing pretty good, Mitch.
Well, hey, I tell you what, man, it's better to be under the weather than out in the weather. Trust me, I've been out in it all day.
I heard that. I've been out in it too, working.
Well, now, you know, we were talking earlier, North Georgia Speedway had the 5-night points challenge, and I looked when I got home. I was running late, and I didn't get to pull all of them up, but I believe you're going to be correct. I believe presumptively, and that word has been bannered around a lot in the talk of politics here lately, I believe you are the presumptive points champion for the 5-night points challenge at North Georgia Speedway in Sportsman.
Yeah, if the way they explain it to me, my calculations are right. We should have won the points deal, so we're pretty excited about that, or I'm pretty excited about that. I may not have won a race, but I can at least say I won something out there this year.
Well, you know, Josh, there's been a lot of racers over the years who have won championships and not won a race. I know Glenn Grimsley was one of them. His first year, His first year racing, he won the Econo Hobby Championship and never won a race, but he finished second or third just about every single week. So consistency is what pays the bills.
Yeah, it paid the bill this time, that's for sure. Say after the past 2 years running crate and drop down and run Sportsman, it builds your confidence up when you have good weeks like that. We just haven't put 5 races together where we didn't get taken out or have any problems. So I say it all came together, and hopefully they'll crown us a champion.
Well, you know, Josh, I know that we've talked about this before, but you jumped into crates, and you had a pretty good run. I mean, you just got bit by bad luck over and over and over, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that has a way of affecting your confidence level, don't it?
Yeah, it affects my confidence level big time, especially qualifying in the rear, then having to work your way up to the field, and then you just get caught up in somebody else's mess, or like you said, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's the way my years in crate went. So we made the decision to drop back down.
Well, Josh, when you step down, I mean, really and truly, when you look at it, it's not really a step down per se. It's just kind of a step sideways. I mean, Sportsman is its own unique class, and where crate was designed 25 years ago when they came out with a crate class, it was designed to be a stepping stone from your hobbies, your cadets, your bomber classes into, say, late models. And it locked everybody in with a spec motor. All of them had to be pretty much the same horsepower, but they put it in a late model chassis, all tube frame, and you could work the shocks, you could work the 4-bar, you could make the car handle like you wanted, and it was a learning class for guys to step up to the next level of super late models. Well, over the years, somebody screwed up and said, hey, tell you what, we've got a whole bunch of crate cars here. Let's pay $2,000 to win. And when they did, all hell broke loose. That's when all the cheating started. I mean, you know, you could fill up a couple of semis with all the illegal crate motors that have been confiscated by the sanctioning bodies that sanctions all these crate races. Just some of the stupid stuff that these guys have done over the years, and it destroyed the class of crate racing. Now, with that said, there are still some good crate racers out there who run by the book, who run to the strictest letter of the law, and they race and they're competitive. It takes a lot of money to do that. And some of these guys are spending upwards of $100,000 to go race for $500 or $600 every week. And I don't see the logic in it, but they still do it. Now, when North Georgia brought back Sportsman's 4 years ago, me and Jason Jones sat down one night, and I said, dude, we have got to do something. I said, these guys in hobby, it's getting tough to find clips because a hobby car has to have a stock front clip. They could do anything they want to, firewall back chassis-wise, but clips were getting hard to find. I said, how about we come up and bring back Sportsman? We keep the same motor rules and let them run their A-hobby motor, but let them put it down in a full jig car. Because all these super late model teams, you know, they got to have the latest and the greatest. So when they update their chassis, they've got an old chassis sitting over here. Be real good for a Sportsman class. Put a cap on their shocks so that they can't get all exotic on the shocks. Make them run a hard tire and a hobby motor. We brought that out, and I think the first race, I think we had 7 cars. Next race, we had like 16 cars. Next race, we had like 21 cars. And we said, hey, we're on to something. So the following year, we made it a full-time class. And towards the end of the year, there was a bunch of guys that were running crates that were wanting to step out. They were getting their butts handed to them in crates. They were saying, well, hey, let us run our crate motor in that. Just give us a little more spoiler, or let us run a little light. And so when Chip took over, he listened to them and he let them come back and bring the crate motors. That is where all hell has broke loose. That's what happened the other night. Spencer Singleton has been handing out butt whoopings left and right this year with, quote unquote, a 602 crate motor in a wide open, full on late model. And he'd been running it in Sportsman. 2,200 pounds, gets a little more spoiler, gets a little break there on the weight, but he gets to go out there and race, and he has just dominated it. Saturday night, somebody said, okay, enough is enough. Junior Whitener put up the money. He said, I want to see what he's got. They tore him down. The teardown went 2.5 hours. The rule book states they have 2 hours from the time they're given permission to start. And they said that the tech man can adjust that time if need be. So, you know, if they want to add something to it, say they say, okay, I want to see his oil pan, or I want to see a head, and I want to see both heads, the camshaft, and the oil pan. Well, that 2 hours is a pretty tight squeeze to see all that, so the tech man can say, okay, I'll give you 2.5 hours. Well, they had a lot of problems getting in the motor with the seal bolts. So the teardown went 2.5 hours. Tech man said, nope, that's enough. We're done. And he disqualified Spencer. Now that started raising all kinds of stink about Spencer getting disqualified because he had a little motor. But now, here's where you come in, Josh. I don't want to bust everyone's bubble and say that, you know, Spencer got tore down because he had a little motor, because that wasn't the real deal. It was just Junior Whitener said, hey, if he's got something I don't, I want to see what he's got so I can go get it. Isn't that right?
Exactly. That's what he said. He said, I want to know what he's got. He said, because it seems to be better than mine. I want to know what it is, and I want to go get one. So that's the way that handed out right there.
But now, Josh, tell everybody what you're running.
I have a Neesmith sealed 602.
You're running the same motor that Spencer Singleton's running.
Correct.
Okay, now.
Supposed to be.
Okay, how bad does Spencer Singleton whoop you every week?
Pretty dang bad.
When Spencer starts at the back of the pack and drives to the front and drives away, it just makes people curious. I'm not saying Spencer's cheating. I'm not saying he's illegal. But now you brought up an interesting point earlier today when we were talking. Tell me what you were saying about the difference between your car and Spencer's car.
That car races super late models whenever Spencer's not driving it. It's got the best of the best in it. I say Richard Dawson put a bunch of money in that car, and I don't blame him one bit for doing that. But I mean, that's just the way it goes. Money wins races, and some of us ain't quite got it.
Now, when you look at, and when he says the best of the best, that's all the lightweight stuff. That's all the absolute best that you can get. And weight is a big game in dirt track late models. And when you can save a pound or two here or a pound or two there, you know, it helps, because not that the lightweight, because you got to meet minimum weight, but when you get under a certain weight, then you have to start adding lead to the car or ballast. And when you add weight, you can put the weight where you want it. And that's the key to the game right there, is having your car balanced chassis-wise, handling-wise. So by putting the weight where you want it, you can fine-tune that, correct?
Correct. That's exactly right. And I'm not saying that Spencer's got the best of the best. It just seems that way.
Well, I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with having the best. And, you know, Richard Austin found him a driver who, I mean, Spencer's only been racing, 25, 30 years? I mean, you know, he's been doing this for a while. I mean, I'm not knocking Spencer. I mean, you know, like when Jeff Smith won like 21 out of 24 races here a couple of years ago at North Georgia with Randall Hill and Hill Motorsports, you know, he would stink up the show. He would get out there, qualify fast time. They dropped the green flag, and he was gone. He was in a whole nother zip code. And it wasn't that he was cheating. That's not the point. It's just he was flat on his game. He had the best that you can get. and he had a good package put together, and he made it work for him. And now, we look at this year, that same team with another driver has not done as well as it did with Jeff. And that's not saying Chip Brendel is any less of a driver. It's just saying you've got to have the complete package, not just the car, but you've got to have the car and the driver, the motor, and everything has to match, don't it, Josh?
Yeah, it's all got to match. And like you said, Jeff there, which I run credit against Jeff as well, and is every weekend. He was up front no matter where he started, and they just had it going on. And same thing with Chip there at the beginning of the year, they had it going on. And I think just some people's picked up their game and started working on their stuff a little more. And those guys are getting outrun now by people that have, stepped up their game. And, to be honest with you, that's what we're going to have to do in Sportsman with Spencer. He's just on top of it. We got to get on top of it.
I think one of the things that has always got me, and one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is, when you see one person that wins everything, first thought in a lot of people's minds who are not involved in racing, first thought in people's minds, he's cheating. He's got to have an illegal motor. He's got an illegal this or an illegal that, because nobody can be that good. But when you're on your game each and every week, and you've got the best of the best, and you've got all your ducks in a row, it can be that you're that much faster than everybody else because you're that much on your game. It's easy to do when you have a driver who has the experience that Spencer does. When you take somebody, say, that's only just started racing, say 2 or 3 years, it's a little bit tougher for them to get on their game because they're not quite sure just exactly what they want out of the car or how to get it. And when you put those two together side by side, experience is going to prevail every time, isn't it?
Yeah, experience is a big part of it, especially when somebody's got 20-plus years on you. Like myself, I've only been racing late models for 3 years, and I'm still learning, going through a learning curve. So I've won some races at Boyd's this year, but other than that, say just North Georgia, it's something different. And we just ain't hit it yet, and experience has got us right now. Spencer's raced there, as far as I know, the whole time he's been racing, and he just got that place down pat.
Now, a lot of people, I was sitting up in the stands the other night, and we're coming up on a break here in a few minutes. I want to step out for that, but I was sitting up in the stands the other night, and I was talking to some people who have never been to North Georgia before, and I asked them what they thought, and their eyes opened wide. I mean, just really wide, bug-eyed, and they said, "Man, this place is fast." And I just kind of laughed, and I thought, yeah, well, tonight it's dry slick. You ought to see it when it's tacky.
Yeah, it's fast and it's tacky, that's for sure.
There's just something about the shape of that racetrack that really adds to it. It makes it easier to go fast. Is the racing that much better when it's tacky? Well, it just depends on who you talk to. But I've seen guys run high. I've seen them run low. I went back and watched some old there's an old Have a Tampa race from 1996 that is on YouTube at North Georgia. Now, if you want to watch a good race, go back and watch that. There's some good racing in there. And if you look at the racetrack, it's like stepping into a time machine because the track has not changed that much. I mean, it looks exactly the same. The people in the stands are a little different, and some of the cars in the infield are a little different, but it looks exactly the same, and it's always been a very fast track. But I tell you what, we're going to step out and take a quick commercial break. Hang out with me, Josh, because I want to talk some more when we come back. We're going to step out and take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll jump into a few other things, and we'll look at some of Josh's plans for the rest of the season and see what he's got going on. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker, and my special guest, Josh Walker, sitting in with me tonight exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time. What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
If you're a gearhead and you just can't get enough of your favorite motorsports on that channel on the cable, or you look at that Guy network and you just go, what does that have to do with me? We have the answer. Performance Motorsports Network. Right here on the internet. The best cruising tunes, the best in motorsports programming, and the best shows. We have opinionated hosts, and we like it that way. If you want to get involved, if you want to bench race, be listening for information coming up soon right here on this channel, the Performance Motorsports Network, your source for motorsports.
You're listening to the Monday Night Results Show on the Performance Motorsports Network, racing information at its best. And now back to the Doctor of Statistics.
All right, welcome back. And this just in, somebody just sent me an email and made me aware of this. I haven't heard it, but dirt car racing officials have disqualified 5 competitors following post-race inspections at the Dirt Late Model Dream at Eldora. The tire samples collected from the B5 of Brandon Shepard, the 22 of Greg Satterley, the 20 driven by Jimmy Owens, the 33X driven by Ricky Thornton, and the 0 driven by Scott Bloomquist were tested by an independent laboratory and did not meet established benchmarks by a chemical analysis. All 5 drivers have been disqualified from the event, including loss of all purse money and championship points earned during the event, fined $1,000, penalized 1,000 dirt car late model points from the 2016 season, and let me see, they've all been placed under a 3-month suspension from all dirt sanctioned events, which includes the World of Outlaws Craftsman Late Model Series beginning June 11th and concluding September 11th, and will be under probation following the conclusion of the suspension for the remainder of the season. Now, that's some pretty big names when you jump in there with Brandon Shepard, Jimmy Owens, and Scott Bloomquist all get busted for juicing tires. What do you think about that, Josh?
Some of them names don't really surprise me, but the one that really stands out is Ricky Thornton. He had a good run. That's really surprising.
Now, just let me see. The cost, what it cost, including loss of money, fine, and the cost of tire analysis, cost Brandon Shepard, $19,000. It cost Greg Satterley $4,600. It cost Jimmy Owens $7,600. It cost Thornton $10,900 and $6,000 for Bloomquist. So that's a pretty hefty chunk of money that that it costs them in winnings and fines and everything. So yeah, go ahead, juice some more tires, guys. Man, that just floors me. I mean, you know, there's a couple of them, like you said, that it really didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me about Bloomquist, and it didn't surprise me about Jimmy Owens, and Brandon Sheppard. But Ricky Thornton, I mean, he was on a roll, and he was fast all weekend. I mean, he was on his game. I don't think the Juice Tires really gave him that much of an advantage, but maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But it didn't meet the rules, so boom, they got nailed with and that's a 3-month suspension. So look out, the Lucas Oil Series, I guess, will be getting a couple of more competitors.
Yeah, that's what I was fixing to ask you if that was Lucas Oil Series as well, but I guess not. So
no,
yeah,
that
get 3 more,
the way it reads is dirt car racing, all dirt sanctioned events, and the World of Outlaw. Where'd it go? The World of Outlaw Craftsman Late Model Series competition. So it's only from the dirt car sanctioned events, which includes the World of Outlaws Late Model Craftsman Series. So it don't apply to Lucas. Although I really wish we could get some of these guys, some of these traveling series like that, to abide by each other's penalties and suspensions. I think that would do a whole lot towards keeping some of this stuff down. I mean, if these guys, you look at Owens, he races for a living. Brandon Sheppard does, Bloomquist does. If you hit these guys to where you can't race for 3 months unless you're running, P-Dunk, Illinois, if you can't run with the traveling series and race for the big money for 3 months, that's going to be a big hit in the pocketbook. And that's really going to keep these guys from altering the tires as they were. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that. As far as every sanctioning body abide by, or, as far as hand out the same penalties throughout the board, it most definitely hurt them in the long run.
Now, one of the things, speaking of rules and penalties, what have you, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, Josh, was, we have looked at, and you and I have, being from this area, we see the same things week in and week out. One of the things that has gotten me is different tracks, different rules. Now, if you're running Sportsman at North Georgia, the only other racetrack, now correct me if I'm wrong here, the only other racetrack you can really go run at and be competitive would be Boyd's, and then you would have to pull your roof off, right?
They actually changed those rules. When they quit racing every week, they actually changed it to where the top was optional now. And they've also changed the weight rules for the motors. You can now run a 363 or larger at, I think, a certain weight, and then 362 or smaller at a certain weight, and 602 at a certain weight.
But that's pretty much the only two tracks that you're able to lock into without changing a bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, you still got I-75 just up the road here in Sweetwater. Their rules are sort of close. But as far as being competitive, you really only got Boyd's in North Georgia.
Now, my thing is, and I have preached this for many, 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 many years, and I even went as far a couple of years ago, well, a few years ago actually, to get 2 of 3 promoters from around here. Now, this was before I-75 opened up. We got Monty Morrow to agree. We got Keith Ellis, Derek Ellis's dad, to agree during the winter, and we were trying to get the Harveys on board when they had Boyd's to all come together and create one universal rule book for all 3 tracks. And it got down to where things were looking good. I thought we were going to be able to do it, and then I'm not going to call names, but one promoter said, no, hell no, I'm not going to do that. Now, if we could get all the racetracks around here to work together, say Fort Payne, North Georgia, Cleveland, well, not Cleveland, but Boyd's, I-75, even Winchester, if we could get, say, 5 or 6 racetracks to work together on a common set of rules, don't you agree that it would be better for racing, say, for 5 years? I mean, if you looked at a 5-year plan, instead of just looking to the end of the season this year, if you look at 5 years, you know that you're going to be able to race this car. So you take your car that you're running Sportsman with right now, you put your money into it. You know that come rain or weather or whatever, if one race gets called, you can travel and go run Fort Payne, or you can travel and go run North Georgia. It opens up a bigger area for you to race in. Don't you feel that would improve racing in this area?
I think it would improve racing as far as not having to worry about having a place to race. Say right now with only 2 racetracks close to me racing North Georgia and Boyd's, it's kind of hard to just jump in the truck on a Friday or Saturday and go travel somewhere. We raced Winchester and Crossville this year, and it's just getting home at 4:30 in the morning after traveling for 2 hours ain't no fun. But yeah, as far as getting everybody together and getting the rules simplified into one unison, it most definitely help as far as locally.
Well, I think that if we could do that, it would be a long-term solution to a short-term problem. I mean, because, now as it is, if you wanted to travel and race, and like you said, I understand that the cost of travel is prohibitive sometimes. I understand that some people have to work and they can't stay out all night long going to races. But every now and then, if you said, well, hey, let's pick one weekend or 2 weekends during the year where, say, Crossville is having a big race, or say North Georgia is having a big Sportsman race. Let's go down there and make a race there, or go over to Fort Payne and make a race there. You could lay out your season a whole lot better, and with everybody traveling, you're going to draw guys from, say, Winchester who will come down to run North Georgia every now and then, or go over to Fort Payne. It lets everybody branch out just a little bit and not be locked into one racetrack. And I think if you could show that works, I believe that you would be able to do a whole lot more in attracting a bigger corporate type sponsor that you could possibly get a points fund for, say, those 5 or 6 tracks, and all lock in, say, hey, you no matter where you run, your points are going to go to this series. If you run 3rd here at North Georgia, you run 1st at Fort Payne, you run 2nd at Boyd's, all those points are going to go to your car. And at the end of the year, the drivers with the most points racing at these tracks, we're going to have a points fund set up for that. I think that would be something that would really promote racing here in the Southeast, especially in our little tri-state area. I think that's something that could grow, because if you look, Josh, you look at the Midwest, you look at the IMCA, they have a 5-page rule book for 5 different divisions. They have 1-page rules, I mean, it's not hard. It's not complicated. Rules around here have gotten just plumb stupid. I mean, you can say, it don't matter if it's North Georgia, Boyd's, whatever. Everybody cut and paste their rules from everybody else and change 1 or 2 little things. But if you could get everybody on the same rules and do like, say, WSOTA or IMCA throughout the Midwest and have a big points fund at the end of the year, I think you would see a lot of guys that are sitting there with race cars up on blocks in their garage. I think you would see them pulling these race cars out and going racing.
Yeah, I honestly think they would too. I mean, I know of a few cars sitting around that they're not going to race because the rules are so different, and racetracks don't want to race every weekend. And I mean, it's one of those things. And I understand money's a big part of it. You can't lose money every week. And but as far as car count and whatnot, I think unifying just a simple series and between 5 or 6 tracks will be all right. Unless you kind of do what UCRA does and starts allowing 20 over motors just for their series, and you're stuck having 2 motors and all this other stuff. But if I'm not mistaken, Neesmith has a weekly racing points deal, and I do believe Cruz Skinner is part of that deal at Talladega, and he's actually been doing good. But I think as far as across the Southeast, as far as each track that's Neesmith sanctioned in crate, their points is all tallied up at the end of the year. I could be wrong. Don't take my word on that, but I just as far as looking at Neesmith website, that's what I can gather.
You are correct. The only problem I have with Neesmith is what we talked about earlier. Neesmith will not allow Fords they won't allow anything but a Chevrolet to race in the Neesmith series. And, if you look in the grandstands, me being a Ford man, I've always thought about this and you kind of let it go here and there. But if you look in the grandstands, you see a lot of people with Ford shirts on. You see a lot of people with Chevy shirts on. You see a lot of people with Dodge shirts on. You look at Eric Hamby down at Dixie. He runs a Dodge down there, and he's been kicking their butt. Okay? That would eliminate him. You look at, say, in crate racing, you look at Craig Reese. He run a Ford. Cody Richards down at Dixie, he runs a Ford. These guys can't participate in the Neesmith series because they of the no Ford rule or the no Dodge rule. It's got to be a General Motors product. I'm looking for something that's all inclusive. I mean, I wouldn't care if somebody was able to get a Toyota motor from, say, a NASCAR team. If they can make that legal and run, let them run a Toyota. I don't care. As long as we've got some parity, we've got some where everybody can run. You look at Cochran Motor Speedway 2 years ago, we had a big Ford versus Chevy shootout down there. It had the grandstands packed. And you could stand in the infield and hear them in the grandstands arguing about who was better, Ford versus Chevy. And that's what we need. We need that rivalry brought back to the grandstands, not just on the racetrack, but back in the grandstands. Get people coming back to the races because they want to see that competition. They want to see that Ford beat that Chevy, or they want to see that Dodge beat both of them. They want to see that parity, not just one car or one make winning all the time. And I think that if you had a series, say IMCA or WISSOTA, something like that, like the Neesmith series, but open up the rules. Don't just make it just Chevrolets that can race, because there's more than just Chevrolets out there.
Yeah, there are more than just Chevrolets out there. And I'm talking about the whole Chevy Ford rivalry. I know of a couple of people, brothers from around here, Gar and Roger Dixon. They've run Fords, and I know they got a bunch of fans just because they run Fords. And say them are two good guys. But as far as series-wise, maybe Ford needs to start up their own series, all their own crate series, and maybe have a intertwine at Magnolia or something where you Neesmith versus Ford or something like that. I mean, that might be something big.
See, you're on to something right there already. Just from 10 minutes on the radio show, Josh Walker just come up with an awesome idea to create a Ford series and a Chevy series, and at the end of the year, let them butt heads. Man, I need to have you on the show more often, Josh. Well, buddy, hey, man, what are you going to be doing this year? Where are you going to be continuing to run Sportsman at North Georgia and Boyd's?
Yeah, we'll be continuing to run Sportsman at North Georgia and Boyd's most of the year. Whenever they do a race, I know North Georgia's taking a 2-month hiatus, and Boyd's, they've got 4 or 5 races scheduled. I don't know if they're going to throw something in between there. I know they're racing this weekend, and that's where we'll be. But when we're not racing North Georgia or Boyd's, I'll probably be traveling with Todd Morrow wherever he goes, and might even drive my car along if there happens to be a chance that we can be competitive at that track he goes to. So we'll just have to see what plays out.
Well, I'll tell you what, buddy, I appreciate you coming on the show. And when you're up at Boyd's this weekend, don't be surprised. You might see me around up there. You might hear me around up there. We're waiting on final word on that, but you just never can tell where the doctor will pop up. But thanks so much for coming on the show tonight, Josh. It's been a lot of fun, and look forward. Tell everybody where they can find you. You're on Facebook, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I'd say just Josh Walker. I don't have a racing page. I used to, and I had to take it down, but inactive. But you can find me on Facebook or Twitter, and at the racetrack. That's about it.
Well, I'll tell you what, man.
Call us at the lock dock if you just want to hang out. You need some lock.
There you go. And if you lock yourself out of the car, who do you call?
The lock dock.
All right,
when
man. The lock dock.
Call the dock.
That's right. That's right. And if you mess up and dial me, I'll give you the number to them. We'll hook you up. We'll get you in your car or in your house, either one. Josh, thanks so much for coming on, buddy, and let's do it again sometime soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Hopefully see you at that boys this weekend. We can make it 3 in a row out there.
All right, man. Josh Walker, driver of the number 16 Lock Dock car. All right, we're up against a commercial break. We're going to step out, take a quick commercial. When we come back, guess what? We got some results. So don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the doctor, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Motorsports Sales Professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father. My husband.
My mom. My mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
It's the Monday Night Results Show, the internet radio show that gives you the results from your favorite racetracks. And that's it! If you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, go watch NASCAR coverage on ESPN. Now, here's the doctor.
All right, welcome back. Now, there was some controversy. I want to address this real quick. There was some controversy down at Golden Isle Speedway down in South Georgia this year with the Stowers boys. They went in down there, and they pretty much just got ripped. Won the race. Then they screamed and hollered about this, and the guy behind them protested this. What it boiled down to was locals at Golden Isle didn't like a guy from Florida coming in there and racing and winning. And then it was brought out that the track had in their rules that said any car visiting from another track will be giving a one courtesy race to run with weight penalties in order to try out Golden Isle Speedway. After this one trial race, should the car return, it must be by GIS rules. Driver must speak with the tech man before the race to assess weight penalties, or the car will be disqualified. Now, when you have one racetrack that has a different set of rules, and you invite other drivers to come to your racetrack, you know, you've got to get to that point to where if you want other drivers to come, you got to give them a little love every now and then. And, you know, like we were talking last week about Dixie and their tires. You know, if you want to run Dixie, then you've got to run the DRS tires. Does that hurt Dixie? Well, yeah, it probably does, car count wise. But when you're sitting right next to a major metropolis like Dixie is, you can afford to lose a few cars here and there because you've got so many of them there. Now, this deal with Golden Isle, that was straight up nepotism, favoritism, whatever you want to call it. Their local boy got his butt handed to him by a car that was comparable, that was toting an extra 300 pounds of weight, and he still wins. And these guys are screaming and hollering, oh, and they finally DQ'd him because he had floating wrist pins in his motor. Really? How much horsepower does floating wrist pins give you that you can put to the ground? Zero. But rules are rules. I agree with that. But when you've got a track that screams and hollers, oh, come race with us, come race with us, and then they put that kind of ionus on it to where, oh, well, you can race with us, but you got to add all this weight. Or you can race with us, but you got to change this, this, and this. If we had standardized rules throughout the Southeast like IMCA or WSOTA does, we wouldn't have that problem. All those problems could be fixed. Well, you've got some guys that are going to scream and holler and say, hey, well, if you do that, then my car is not going to be legal for this racetrack. No, it might not be. But if you build in a 2-year grace period to where you will give these cars 2 years to get their cars right, in the third year, you've got to be on the money with your rules, then that right there opens it up and it promotes for a long-term solution to a problem that we're facing now, and that is low car count. We've got to get these cars, like Josh was saying, we've got to get these cars that are sitting on blocks and get them on the racetrack. That's what's got to happen in order for racing to survive in the Southeast. And I talked to Teresa Simmons today, who had been the promoters at Cleveland, and she said she wanted to tip her hat to me for all the work that we have done this year, both at North Georgia and trying to get everything lined up with the different series and everything, trying to make everybody happy. And the thing is, I wish that we could just get everybody on this. I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe if somebody stepped in and said, here, look, here's $500,000. Let's make it happen. It would happen overnight. But I don't see nobody with $500,000 stepping up. So we're going to have to find another solution to the problem. And I'm all about exchanging ideas. If somebody wants to take my idea and run with it, hey, more power to you. If I can help in any way, let me know. Because I am all about it, and I want the sport to prosper. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take working across the board with different racetracks to make it happen. All right. Let's jump into some results. The racetrack we haven't covered much this year, between rainouts and their results not getting to me in time. My buddies, Danny and Mylinda Bennett, down at Cotton Bowl Speedway down in Page, Texas, we have their results for their modified A-Main right here. Taking the win this past Saturday night, it was Greg Dinsmore out of Kerrville, Texas. Jamie Campbell was second. P.J. Egbert was third. Cody Tidwell was fourth. Hardy Henderson was fifth. Rick Green was sixth. Ronnie Warren was seventh. Rob Sanderson was eighth. David Good Jr. was ninth. 10th was Raymond McSpadden. And we're working on something with Raymond McSpadden. I've got my buddy Larry Kaler. He's on this. We're trying to make something happen there. Scott Stubbs was 11th. Ryan Childress was 12th. James Cochran the second was 13th. Mike Wilburn was 14th. Doyle Massa was 15th. David Good Sr. was 16th. Richard Shields was 17th. 18th was Ronnie Ellis. And Michael Thomas rounded out the 19-car field. In the IMCA Sport Mod event in the A main, it was Robert Scrivener taking the win over G.W. Egbert IV. Chris Birmingham was 3rd. Taylor Florio was 4th. Talon Minton was 5th. James Haunch was 6th. Earl Ingram was 7th. Vince Loudon was 8th. Don Painter was 9th. Thomas Bennett was 10th. Dylan Tyndall was 11th. Nathan Robbins was 12th. Rusty Chambers was 13th. Gene Burnett was 14th. Jeremy Petty was 15th. Matthew Bennett was 16th. 17th was Brandon Pruitt. Tom Gothrews was 18th. Dwayne Owens was 19th. And George Egbert rounded out the 20-car field. In the IMCA stock cars, it was Charles Cosper taking the win over Andy Roller. 3rd was Joe Spillman. Pete Delavan was 4th. Nick Priam was 5th. Daniel Shipler was 6th. Dean Priam was 7th. Tracy Schroner Hendricks was 8th. Terry Schroner was 9th. Patricia Lucas was 10th. Jeff Bowser was 11th. Dwayne Toyne was 12th. Jay Simmons II was 13th. Bill Siegman was 14th. Kelvin Harper was 15th. Joey Schroner was 16th. And A.J. Dancer got DQ'd. In the, in the Junior 1 go-kart main event, it was Cole Weir taking the win over Caden Petty, and little P.J. Egbert takes 3rd. In the Echo Stocks, it was Jason Miller taking the win over Christopher Chambers. Robert Kelm was 3rd. Brandon Petty was 4th. In the 3.5 horsepower go-karts, it was Lincoln Goats taking the win over Jesse Davis. Jackson White was 3rd. Christopher Brewer was 4th. Matthew Pearson was 5th. And Journey White rounded out the 6-car field. And that's how they ran them down at Cotton Bowl Speedway this past weekend out there in Page, Texas. Great to have them back on board and getting everything going. All right, Cochran Motor Speedway, the Super Street Neesmith Touring Dirt Late Model Series, the Super Street version is the only result we've got, and that is not the full result right there. Let me get back up here and see if I can find this. Sportsman, 11 cars. That was all. Phil Pittman takes the win over Steven Jensen. Corey Dunn was 3rd. Caleb Gay was 4th. Morgan Sheffield was 5th. Jeff Norrell was 6th. Wesley Robinson was 11th. Paul Smith was 8th. Cameron Hall was 9th. Josh Herringdine was 10th. And Greg Henry rounded out the 11-car field. And that is all the results that I got from them down there at Cochran Motor Speedway. So hopefully they will get on the stick and start getting me the results up here like they're supposed to. All right, let me see. I got some more results right up here. Scroll back up here to the Sprint National Sprint League, the 410 Sprints. This is out of Mason City, Iowa, the Mason City Motor Speedway, the A main. This is the National Sprint League. Okay, keep that in mind. This is going places. Watch. Danny Lasowski, Danny the Dude Lasowski takes the win. Sammy Swindell was 2nd. Ian Madsen was 3rd. Terry McCarl was 4th. Craig Delansky was 5th. Brian Brown was 6th. Kerry Madsen was 7th. Matt Jewell was 8th. Austin McCarl was 9th. Brooke Tatnall was 10th. Tasker Phillips was 11th. Kaylee Garst was 12th. Davey Heskins was 13th. Dakota Henderson was 14th. Chris Martin was 15th. Austin Johnson was 16th. And Linton Jeffries rounded out the 17-car field. Now, there was a lot of talk about the National Sprint League and where it was going, what it was going to do, and if they were going to be able to get it off the ground. it is up and running. So just keep that in your hat, and remember that you heard about it here. There is, let me pull up my next page here. Brownstown Speedway, Brownstown, Indiana, the ILMS feature from this past Sunday, yesterday. Hudson O'Neal takes the win over Marty O'Neal. Raymond Humphreys was third. Steve Barnett was fourth. Remington Gill was fifth. Geralt Galt was sixth. Austin Burns was seventh. Jeremy Owens was eighth. Tyler Kane was ninth. Steve Godsey was 10th. Isaac Rainey was 11th. Clint DeMoss was 12th. Joey Jones was 13th. Kyle McMahon was 14th. Jason Basham was 15th. TJ Swarner was 16th. Shane Pyatt was 17th. Tyler Neal was 18th. Chris Workman was 19th. Race McMahon was 20th. Derek Bottoms was 21st. And Johnny Joseph rounded out the 22-car field. And that is all they got in up there this past yesterday afternoon. I believe that is actually a makeup from another weekend, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the way that broke down. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier, and I want to bring it up again because it's this important. Anybody who has any ideas on how to get all these racetracks to work together, send them to me. If you got a suggestion, I want to hear it. How do we get all these racetracks on the same page for, say, a 5-year plan? We've got to do something. And if the racers themselves don't take care of it, then it's not going to happen like it's supposed to. So we're going to have to do something, and we're going to have to make it happen, and make it happen soon. Or else we're going to run out of places to race. I mean, really and truly, there's 3 out of 5 racetracks that were around here. You know, Cleveland's is closed. Boyd's, well, you know, you would think they would be running every weekend, but they're not. North Georgia is doing everything they can to try to struggle and stay alive. Dixie is running, but their car count is getting down there. I mean, their car count is low. Last weekend, they had to put some steelheads in with the super late models, and it's just, you know, they had 6 cars show up here 2 weeks ago, and 6 super late models showed up. So they let some steelheads run with them, and, you know, just trying to field a full field for the fans, and that's not going to get it. If we all got on the same page and got the rule books locked in, I mean, if nothing else, take one class from each track and use that rule as a rule book for all of them. Say, take Sportsman's from North Georgia because their car count is so high, and 2 racetracks are already running that particular class. Say, take super late model rules from, say, Dixie. Take your bomber rules. We need to bring back more difference between the cars. Not all of them need to look like super late models. We need to get something like the Neesmith Strooper Street series, where they've got to look like a Monte Carlo or a Camaro or something. It's got to have a unique shape to it other than just looking like an open-ended super light model. That's what we've got to get away from, too. And we've got to get that fixed, or else we're not going to be able to save it. I'm telling you, this is something that's got to be addressed, and we need to address it soon. All right, we're up against the commercial break. We're going to jump out of here and take a quick break, and when we come back, we have got some more results, and I've got a little bit of opinion. Imagine that. I've got a little bit of opinion we're going to be coming up on and talking about here in just a little bit, too. So don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Media sales professionals with agency experience. If you're frustrated with your current position, unrealistic quotas, and inept management, if you're a sales machine and you simply will not take no as an acceptable reply, if you're looking for a rapidly growing company with unlimited sales potential for commissions in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're searching for a high-tech, forward-looking, laid-back, but extremely professional organization who appreciate your skills and dedication, we have your next opportunity. Scorpion Radio Group is building a sales team of self-starters who are motivated. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444 or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. That's 717-749-0444 and ask for Sue.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette, it's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay.
Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
You're listening to the Monday Night Results Show. Back-to-back results, and that's it. You want half-naked girls, singing, and sound effects? Go watch American Idol. Now, here's the doctor.
All right, welcome back. I told you earlier we had some results from Eagle Raceway, the Mustache Madness Dad's Tribute. I want to thank my buddy Steve Bishop out in Nebraska for hooking me up with these results and let me know about this race. He said, man, I thought about you when we got to the racetrack, and he said, they started talking about Mustache Madness. He said, and I thought about you, and he said, I thought you needed to know about this. So we're going to bring you the results from Eagle, Nebraska, the Eagle Raceway, the Mustache Madness Dad's Tribute for this past Father's Day. In the sports mods, it was Adam Verbga taking the win over Trent Roth. Jason Harms was third. Steve Osmond was fourth. Troy Sanford was fifth. Sean Manning was sixth. James Hines was seventh. Shane Hennessy was eighth. Brandon Clough was ninth. Terry Callender was 10th. Jason Heaps was 11th. Brandon Latour was 12th. Justin Beamer was 13th. Tanner Winberg was 14th. Jeremy Noonan was 15th. And Jeremy Peckham rounded out the 16-car field in the first of two sport mods. There was a second sport mod feature that was a makeup. And here's the results from it. It was Anthony Kobus taking the win. Gary Seathroff was second. Shelly Anderson was third. Nick Beckham was fourth. Ari Schoten was fifth. Randy Fox was sixth. Joe Schindler was seventh. Nate Thompson was eighth. Adam Armstrong was ninth. Trent Roth was 10th. Jason Harms was 11th. Steve Taylor was 12th. 13th was Gunnar Pike. 14th was Mary Lentz. Steve Osmond was 15th. Mike Schonost was 16th. Daniel Jackson was 17th. Dana Deek was 18th. Adam Verbka was 19th. And Derek Hall rounded out the 20-car field. And that is the results from Mustache Madness out at Eagle Raceway out there in Eagle, Nebraska. Thanks to my buddy, Mr. Bishop, for hooking me up with those results. Now, let me go back here in the Neesmith crate races from Cochran Motor Speedway. Here is the results from the other night. There was 2 races, and the main event. I'm getting these from Race Monitor, and as bad as I hate to do it, I can only give you the top 10 because from 10th on down, it is data unavailable. Taking the win was Corey Hedgecock. Brandon Williams was second. Forrest Trent was third. Jason Britton was fourth. Ryan Crane was fifth. Bob Robertson was sixth. Will Rowland was seventh. Ryan Crater was eighth. Victor Turner Jr. was ninth. Will Harrington was 10th. And there was 20 cars in it, but the rest of them did not make it. So we didn't get all of those in there. But let me do I believe this is the transfer race right here. It was Montana Dudley taking the win over Jimmy Thomas. Josh Bishop was third. Ryan Crane was fourth. Bob Robertson was fifth. Corey Hedgecock was sixth. Will Rowland was seventh. Ryan Crater was eighth. Brandon Williams was ninth. Roderick Dials was 10th. Michael Blount was 11th. Scott Detweiler was 12th. Peyton Freeman was 13th. Riley Hickman was 14th. Chase Edge was 15th. Ronnie Johnson was 16th. Jason Britton was 17th. Victor Turner Jr. was 18th. And Will Harrington rounded out the 19-car field. And I believe that pretty much wraps it up down there on those. So kind of sucks, but sometimes you get Race Monitor is real good to get your results, and other times you kind of get the short end of the stick. But it is what it is. Let's see here. We've got some more results. I'll roll down here. Oop, wrong one. Over here. Randolph County Raceway, Macon, Missouri. This is our veterans shout out for the week. Our veteran is Staff Sergeant Steve Colon, and he is stationed in, with the Marine Corps. He is stationed in Okinawa, Japan, getting ready to come back home for the first time in 18 months. So, Staff Sergeant Steve Colon, these results are for you, for all you do. He is out of Macon, Missouri as well. Chris Smizer takes the win. Oh, the ULMA late model. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Chris Smizer was first. Second was Kenny Mudd. Dustin Hodges was third. Cody Holtkamp was fourth. Ryan Pirisheimer was fifth. Ashley Lancaster was sixth. Seventh was Derek Wish, and Devin Wish rounded out the 8-car field. In the USRA Modifieds, it was Robbie Reed taking the win. Scotty Roberts was second. Tyler Shaw was third. Ronnie Woods was fourth. Bill Baker was fifth. Dylan Hoover was sixth. Casey Pearson was seventh. Charles Baker was eighth. And Hugh Eddy rounded out the 9-car field. In the USRA B Mods, it was Galen Hassler taking the win over Adam Hall. Cody Agee was third. Dalton McKinney was fourth. Mark Forrester was fifth. John Anderson was sixth. Jared Click was seventh. Cody Henderson was eighth. David Snyder was ninth. Josh Maxwell was 10th. Andrew Page was 11th. Jeremy Polston was 12th. Tyler Imhoff was 13th. Clayton Crump was 14th. Tim Pettibone was 15th. Matthew Clark was 16th. Jeff Macklin was 17th. 18th was Kevin Skaggs. And Tony Messamaker rounded out the 19-car field. In the RCR Hobby Stocks, it was Tim Dawson taking the win over Matt Messamaker. Chad Breed was third. Fourth was Blake Holtz. Wayne Helton was fifth. Jeremy Warren was sixth. And seventh was Jacob Grotweil. In the RCR Sport 4-cylinders, It was Jared Click taking the win over Kyle Burton. Devin Still was third. Robert Winfrey was fourth. Alvin Cooney was fifth. Dakota Gerard was sixth. Justin Canaday was seventh. Eighth was Randy Mozingo. Zachary Skull was ninth. 10th was Ashley Click. Rick Gerard was 11th. Ray Burton was 12th. Dave Derlin was 13th. James Harder was 14th. Matt Barnett was 15th. Justin Ohover was 16th, and 17th was Scotty Johnson. And Staff Sergeant Steve Colon, those results are for you, buddy. Thank you for all you do so that we can do what we do here in the USA. I know Okinawa, Japan has its good points and it has its bad points, but it sure ain't Missouri. Have a safe trip home and enjoy your time off, buddy. Thank you for tuning in to the Monday Night Results Show every chance you get. All right. Now we slide on over to Corpus Christi, Texas, the South Texas Speedway out there in Corpus Christi. Let me see. Where did he go? Oh, there it is. Sometimes my computer has a mind of its own. It's going, no, you need to read these results. But it just kept popping back. I think my computer is surprised because it kept popping back up to the disqualifications from the dirt car racing, the Dream, with Brandon Shepard, Greg Satterley, Jimmy Owens, Ricky Thornton, and Bloomquist all getting booted for tires. So it is what it is. South Texas Speedway, Corpus Christi, this past Saturday night. In the limited modifieds, it was Stephen Whitaker Jr. taking a win over Dustin Butcher. Brock Brown was third. Hunter Flanagan was fourth. Johnny Torres was fifth. James Parker III was sixth. Eddie Ross was seventh. Shane Hofling was eighth. David Shurey was ninth. James Lee was 10th. Hector Aguilar was 11th. Manny Trevino was 12th. Kevin Schelling was 13th. Cody Leonard was 14th. Ray Shallman was 15th. Marcus Maluchak was 16th. And Tyler Box was 17th. In the street stocks, it was Jarrett Barber taking the win over Wade Jones. Sean Klein was third. Michael Pesak was fourth. Johnny Torres was fifth. Hector Aguilar was sixth. Sean Moore was seventh. Nathan Sturts was eighth. Ryan Carlucci was ninth. Alan Peace was 10th. Curtis King was 11th. Tony Blankenship was 12th. Jason Fitch was 13th. Leah Walt was 14th. And Tim Dickman out of Corpus Christi rounded out the 15-car field. In the pure stocks, it was Mason Castaneda taking the win over Johnny Westfall. Caleb Hudgens was third. Daniel Preston was fourth. Joshua Sewell was fifth. TJ Sullivan was sixth. Daniel Weyer was seventh. Eighth was Tommy Miller. Travis Weatherford was ninth. J.C. Paul was 10th. 11th was Johnny Wilson. Dub Blocker was 12th. Shiola Flanagan Bronex. What a name. That was she was 13th. Nathan Height was 14th. Lee Eiler was 15th. Tom Thrower was 16th. Cheryl Gray was 17th. 18th was Fred Vanoy. Lawrence Machulik was 19th. Jerry Walters was 20th. 21st was Daryl Prosek. Caitlin Leonard was 22nd. Jamie Deere was 23rd. Michael Courtney, that's a name from around here. He was 25th. And E.J. Gilpin rounded out the 25-car field with a big DQ. In the Bombers, it was Ricky Rogers taking the win over Clara Smith. Alex Hendricks was third. And Jeff Norsko rounded out the 4-car field. In the Sport Compacts, it was C.G.B. Carter taking the win over Don Yoakum. Aleb Solis was third. Felipe Ruiz Jr. was fourth. Debbie Metcalf was fifth. Jersom Salas was sixth. Braden Becker was seventh. Justin Skinner was eighth. In the senior go-karts, it was Brandon Anderson taking the win over Tyler Gilpin. Alex Lynn Powell was third, and Brighton Owens was fourth. In the one more here, in the open wheel karts, It was Gilbert Perez taking the win over Brandon Anderson. Amelia Perez was third. Baton Evans was fourth. And Jaden Edmonds rounded out the 5-cart field. And that's how they ran them out there at South Texas Speedway this past Saturday night. Now, I've said this a million times. We've talked about it over and over and over. Social media. There were some comments made about different racetracks, and some of them I can't comment on because I wasn't there. But I was at North Georgia the other night. What I seen, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I seen 8 feature events plus four-wheeler racing, plus an awesome national anthem, and everybody was leaving by 12:15. Now you say, well, that's after midnight. Yeah, that's also 8 feature events, all of them 20 or 25 lap features. 2 features in supers, 2 features in crate, 2 features in ponies. And so the second features in all of those were makeup races from 2 weeks ago, and they are trying to sort out the points right now. But as it looks in Sportsman, it does look like Josh Walker will win the Sportsman. Dylan Davenport is going to be your pony winner. I don't have the crate or the super results, but I do have some pretty good news. When you have a racetrack that brings fans in, puts on a great show, and you have people walk up the stairs after the show to thank you for giving them a place to come watch the races, that lets you know that you're doing something right. If you've never been to North Georgia, the stairs going up to the announcer's booth they're pretty steep, and there's a whole bunch of them. But Saturday night, while we were shutting everything down, I had 8 people walk up the steps and tell me thank you for doing what you're doing. And when you got social media that all the keyboard cowboys that want to jump on there and bash and raise Cain and put you down and rag on you and bitch about this and bitch about that, and my French fries was cold or my hamburger was cold, sometimes you just really get tired of hearing that. Now, there are a lot of racetracks that could care less what the fans think. But every complaint that is brought to North Georgia Speedway is dealt with. I mean, I'm not going to say if somebody bitches because they thought they should have got a refund that we'll give them a refund. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that every complaint is addressed with the management. They sit back and they try to figure out how to prevent that from happening again. Just like they done Saturday night with the way the super late model race finished. John Owenby won 3 races, won 2 crate races and a super race, and had his hands full. That was one more out individual, I promise you that much. Justin Smokey Owens done a great job subbing for Todd Hernandez, doing double duty, and I mean it was a stellar performance. There was a lot of great racing, and the fans loved it. You've got to put on a show for the fans. Now, there's a lot of places around here that I would really like to see step up their game and improve some things. And I'm sure that with time it can happen. But what we've got to do, we've got to unify. All the racers, I'm not saying form a racing union, but all the racers need to get together, pick a representative, and say, here, you represent us, go talk to the racetracks, here's what we want. That's the way things are going to get done. Do it democratically, Present your case to the tracks. Let them know. Say, hey, here's what we're willing to do, and here's what we want to do, and here's what we'll accept. You know, it's give and take. And it's got to be give and take on both the track's part and the racer's part, because the name of the game is bringing more fans in. And that's what we've got to do in the southeastern United States. We've got to get on the same page like IMSA and WISSOTA and some of these series out there that have got things going on and got 125, 130 cars showing up at every racetrack every stinking night they race. That's what we've got to have around here. And the cars are out there to make this happen. We just got to get them to pull them off the blocks, give them a reason to go racing. We can do it if we put our heads to it. All right, we're up against the commercial break. We're going to step out, take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I've got some more results, and who knows, may even throw a schedule out there or two. Don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time. What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's the Monday Night Results Show, the internet radio show that gives you the results from your favorite racetracks. And that's it. If you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, go watch NASCAR coverage on Fox TV. Now, here's the Doctor.
All right, welcome back. Now, a couple of things I want to touch on. You know, we were talking about car counts, and I went back and I pulled some stuff up. Let's go back to March the 12th, 2016. This is just one track in this area, the Dixie Speedway, the Southeastern Classic. They had 133 cars. Okay, fast forward, April the 9th, Short Track Spring Championship, 124 cars. Okay, fast forward to May the 7th, their season opener, 106 cars. Come on down, May the 14th, 103 cars. Dixie results from 521, May the 25th, 103 cars. Come on up to Dixie Spring Nationals, 102 cars. Scroll on up, May 29th at Rome, 126 cars. June 4th was a complete rainout. June 11th, 78 cars. Now, after averaging right at 110 cars every show, all of a sudden, June the 11th, Dixie had 78. And then this past week, for the Bill Ingram Memorial, a $3,000 to win super late model race, 96 cars. Now, that's in supers, steelheads, crates, super bombers, econo bombers, and stingers. Now, you know, you look at that, it just makes you wonder, you know, what is wrong with racing? Why is the car count going down? Well, there's probably a lot of reasons, but one of them is rules. I'm telling you, Dixie could pull a lot more race cars. A couple of weeks ago, Dixie got rained out. North Georgia got rained out. Okay, all these racetracks around here could have got the race, might not have got their race in, but those racers could have went somewhere to race if they would have had a track that was compatible with their rules. That's what we're talking about. Everybody's going to get hit with a rain date every now and then. So why do you want to handicap your drivers that race at your track all the time from going somewhere else to race for a change? You know, some of these decisions are made last minute. You know, if it rains one track out, they'll call it as quick as they can. But if they can't, then, you know, we had guys coming from up at Crossville. We had guys coming from up there. Had guys coming from 411 that came to North Georgia to race that because it rained them out up there. They came south. But it's going to take some work getting all these tracks to at least get on somewhat the same page. All right, let's look at June 18th, the Bill Ingram Memorial, the super late models. It was Michael Page. They don't number their results, so I'll try to do this without screwing up. Michael Page takes the win. Second was Tyler Millwood. Third was Johnny Chastain. Fourth was Derek Ellis. Fifth was Tom Maddox. Sixth was Dale Thurman. Seventh was Sean Chastain. Eighth was Eric Granger. Ninth was Hunter Peacock. 10th was Kurt English. 10th was Bobby Tucker. 11th was Mark Page. 12th was Justin Shipley. 13th was Buster Goss. 14th was Frank Ingram. And Matt Hebling rounded out the field. In the steelhead late models, boy, there's a couple of them. Chris Fennell takes the win. Austin Smith was second. Third was Matt Larson. Fourth was Scott Hall. Fifth was Jason Smith. Sixth was Mario Gresham. Seventh was Clifton Moran. Eighth was Scotty Pritchett. Ninth was Ronnie Haynes. 10th was Ben Hill. Curtis Klein was 11th. 12th was Chuck Padgett. And Zach Pilcher did not start. In the crate late models, it was Matt Black taking the win over Jake Jones. Third was Logan Palmer. Jason Morris was fourth. Fifth was Jimmy Price. Cody Richards was sixth. Richard Dale was seventh. Jack Daniels was eighth. Jesse Guy was ninth. Tony Beck was 10th. Jake Rainey was 11th. 12th was Tate Nicholson. 13th was Jeff Holloway. Ricky Waters was 14th. George Wilson was 15th. July Turner was 16th. And 17th was Tom Watson. Shane Chitwood rounded out the field. In the Super Bombers, it was Alan Brewer was first. Richard Good was second. Cass Fowler was third. Daniel Brewer was fourth. Fifth was Drew Larson. Sixth was Randall Powell. Seventh was Matt Thompson. Eighth was Travis Smith. Ninth was John Sexton. Luke Pilson was 10th. Donnie Thurman was 11th. Bo Jordan was 12th. Casey Hubbard was 13th. Tony McGuire was 14th. John Land was 15th. and Alan Barber was 16th. In the Econo Bombers, young man we talked about earlier, Eric Hambone Hamby in his big Dodge, he takes the win in Econo Bomber. Landon Bagby was second. Dalton Polston was third. James Gagnon was fourth. Taylor Cole was fifth. Ryan Ray was sixth. Andrew Moody was seventh. Daniel Floyd was eighth. Randy Smith was ninth. Chris Boyd was 10th. Dan Meadows was 11th. Kenneth Burns was 12th. Tom Darby was 13th. And Kyle Beavers and John Davis did not start. In the Street Stingers, it was Bryson Sisson taking the win over Shane Goodson. Third was Brian Crosser. Sam Pyler was fourth. Randy Ledford was fifth. Melissa Dempsey was sixth. Buddy Edmondson was seventh. Eighth was Cody Sisson. Ninth was Brian Dempsey. 10th was Ricky Floyd. Dustin Albright was 11th. And John Somerville rounded out the 12-car field. All right, Dixie's next race is Saturday, June 25th, full racing program, plus a $1,400 to win Steelhead Late Model Championship. Gates open at 5, racing starts at 7:30. So slide on down there to Dixie Speedway if you don't have nothing else to do. Now, we're rolling up against the end of the show. I am working on some guests for next week. A man who was one of the last people to ever race on the beach at Daytona. Not going to tell you who it is. You're just going to have to wait. We'll see if we can get that confirmed and get him on. Also, I've talked to a couple of young men today who we are going to be looking at getting on the show coming up real soon. Chase Collins is one of them. Joshua Bishop is another one. Matt Nicholson. And there's a couple more. Their name slips my list right now, but we're going to work real hard on getting some of them on, and I think you guys are going to love it. Got some great guests coming up. My buddy Bill Blair is hooking me up with some people, and we're gonna be leading up to Okanichi. That'll be October the 1st. We're going to be talking about Okanichi and a lot of the history of the sport, and I can't thank Bill Blair enough for all that he has done to help preserve the history of the sport of NASCAR and auto racing in general, with his vast knowledge, coming on the show and sharing it, and him opening up his phone book and hooking me up with some of these people. Dick Passwater, Johnny Thomas, a lot of these guys, you know, they are legends of the sport, and everybody's forgotten about them, except for people like Bill Blair, the man who's walked in two worlds. And I think Bill is I really appreciate what he has done to help us out here on the show, and helping to not just the show, but to help promote racing and keep these guys, these legends of the sport, keep them remembered. Let them know that somebody cares about them and that we still remember them no matter where they're at. And the younger generation can learn from these people. It's there's just so many stories out there. I wish I could sit down and record them all and store them on a database somewhere, write them out so that people could read them in 10 or 15 years and let people know just how exciting racing used to be, and how exciting it still can be if we preserve it. And that's one of the things that the younger generation needs to look at, and that's preserving history. And I work real hard to do my part, and I will keep trying. I will keep trying to bring you guests that to the show each week that bring you that extra little bit, those little stories that you might not hear anywhere else, the stories that you won't read in a book somewhere. And I'm looking forward to it, and I think that a lot of these guys are excited about coming on the show. So we're going to make it happen one way or the other, and we'll be getting all of them on. So don't forget, keep that in mind. And you know, if you get a chance to go racing somewhere this weekend, Boyd's will be racing Saturday night. I'm not sure what program they've got going on up there, but I do know they will be racing. And I might be going up there to watch, if nothing else. If we do, if you see me, holler at me. Let me know you was there, and we'll get you those results next week. Also, I will get all of the points totals tallied up for the results this week, and we will get all of that information to you from North Georgia Speedway for the 5-night points challenge, and get all those results sorted out and get those posted and get them to you and let you know who our points champions are. August 26th, it kicks off the 3-night race show, 3 weekends in a row, I believe it is, of the Red Clay Nationals. Going to be kicking those off. Going to be having a good time over there at North Georgia on that. We'll be following that. We'll be following all the different racetracks around this area. I've been trying to get I-75 to get back on board with us and get their results to us every week, and see if we can get those guys up there to hook us up with their results. And if you got a racetrack you want to hear the results each and every week, let me know, and I will do what I can to make those results happen. And if you got a guest you would like to hear on the show, let me know that too. We'll see if we can't make that happen. We're pretty easy to get along with. I mean, it ain't like it's rocket science or nothing. If it was, I wouldn't be able to do it. But I think there's a lot of people out there I'd love to get on the show, and I'm looking forward to getting some of them on. Some of them we might not be able to get to, but we're going to get to as many of them as we can and bring you all the interesting stories and the people who tell those stories. So, I almost forgot. Doug Briney. Everybody knows transponders, right? Most racetracks use transponders now. I didn't know this until the other night, right before he sang the national anthem. Doug Briney's dad, Doug Briney, invented the transponders. Him and another man, they created a company called Radco, I believe it was. Radco. First transponder went on Mario Andretti's car, on his USAC car. First transponder. And that was in the late 80s, early 80s. And everybody was scared of them back then. Now everybody swears by them. But I thought that was pretty cool, you know. Doug Briney's dad, he comes and sings the national anthem. We breaking out the transponders, giving them out. And he's, let me tell you a little bit of history about those. And he told us the story. So I thought that was pretty cool. But just so you know, so if you want to know anything about transponders, how they got started, ask Doug Briney. You can go to his website, DougBriney.com. Check him out. Order some of his music. Great guy. And he's got a song. It's called Touch One Life. Go listen to it. I've posted it on my Facebook page. Check that song out. And check out Doug Briney. You can get him on Amazon. All the different media places where you buy your music. Check him out. Help a guy out. He's a great guy and does a hell of a job with the national anthem. Check him out on my page. He's singing it. Kind of excuse the sound quality. It was recorded with a phone, but awesome job. And I want to thank him for coming down and joining us Monday night or Saturday night at North Georgia Speedway. All right, everybody, we're up against the break. We're up against the end of the show. Producer's sitting there waving that checkered flag at me, so I'm going to jump out of here. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Thank Josh Walker for joining me tonight and talking about crate racing and sportsman racing and everything else. We'll have a nice show for you next week, too, so don't go nowhere. Tune in next Monday night. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. See ya!
Y'all ready for this? The Monday Night Results Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com, a member of the Scorpion Radio Group, Inc., and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either PMN or Scorpion Radio Group, Inc., the advertisers, or the marketing partners. If you would like to hear the results from your local track, or you are a track owner or a promoter and want us to cover your venue, give us a call during normal business hours, 717-749-0444. IM us on our Facebook page or email us at performancemotorsportsnetwork@gmail.com. Be listening again next week as we are talking results on the Monday Night Results Show with the Doctor. For the Monday Night Results Show, I'm Big Mike.